Welcome to today's episode of Places, People, Purpose. During our last episode, we completed our visit to a number of Spanish cities with our coverage of Barcelona. In today's episode, we are continuing on with our exploration of the Iberian Peninsula and beginning our discovery of Portugal. We absolutely loved our time in Portugal, not only the natural beauty that it has to offer, but also the warmth, generosity, and captivating nature of its people. We look forward to sharing all of our experiences with you, but first, let's look at some of the history of this interesting country. As we have touched on in prior episodes, the Iberian Peninsula, including modern-day Portugal, was inhabited by various Celtic and Iberian tribes. The Romans invaded the region in the 2nd and 3rd centuries BCE, incorporating it into the Roman Empire. The Islamic conquest of the Iberian Peninsula began in 711 CE, when Muslim forces, led by Tariq ibn Ziyad, crossed the Strait of Gibraltar. Al-Andalus was the Arabic name given to the parts of the Iberian Peninsula that consist of modern-day Spain and Portugal, and which were under Muslim rule from the early 8th century to the late 15th century. The region became part of the Umayyad Caliphate, and the capital was initially established in Damascus. However, the establishment of an independent Umayyad Caliphate in Al-Andalus occurred in 756 CE. This marked the beginning of a distinct Islamic state in the Iberian Peninsula. Al-Andalus experienced a period of cultural, scientific, and artistic flourishing during the Middle Ages. The society was characterized by a diverse population of Muslims, Christians, and Jews living together, contributing to advancements in fields such as medicine, astronomy, philosophy, and architecture. Al-Andalus is often celebrated for its relative religious tolerance and cultural coexistence. The Christian Reconquista, which was a long process of recapturing the territory from the Moors, stands as one of the most remarkable chapters in medieval European history, representing a centuries-long struggle for control over the Iberian Peninsula. Spanning from the 8th to the 15th centuries, this period witnessed the ebb and flow of power between Christian kingdoms and Islamic forces, shaping the cultural, religious, and political landscape of the region. As the Islamic Caliphate expanded its influence, Christian resistance began to coalesce in the northern regions of the peninsula. The Kingdom of Asturias, which was founded in 718 CE by Pelayo, emerged as a focal point of resistance. Pelayo was a nobleman who led the Christian resistance against the Muslim forces in the decisive Battle of Covadonga. This marked the first Christian victory over the Moors and is often considered the starting point of the Reconquista. Between the 8th and 11th centuries, Christian kingdoms including Leon, Castile, Aragon, and Navarre gradually pushed southward, reclaiming territory through a series of battles and campaigns. The city of Toledo was recaptured in 1085, symbolizing a significant turning point in the Reconquista. Between the 11th and 13th centuries, the Christian kingdoms faced formidable challenges from the arrival of the Almoravids and later the Almohads. which were North African Muslim dynasties. Despite setbacks, the Christians persevered, forming alliances and adapting their military strategies to counter these new threats. Also during the 12th century, Portugal officially became a kingdom. Under the Treaty of Zamora, which was signed on October 5, 1143, King Alfonso VII of Leon recognized the Kingdom of Portugal in the presence of his cousin, King Alfonso I, who became the first king of Portugal. Both kings promised that there would be long-standing peace between their kingdoms. Meanwhile, the momentum of the Reconquista culminated in the 15th century with the conquest of the Emirate of Granada. The Catholic monarchs Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella I of Castile completed the Reconquista in 1492 by capturing Granada, the last Muslim stronghold on the peninsula. The Christian Reconquista left an enduring legacy on the Iberian Peninsula. The coexistence of Christian, Muslim, and Jewish communities during Al-Andalus greatly influenced art, science, and philosophy. We have seen in prior episodes how this dynamic history influenced the heritage of some of the Spanish cities we visited, including Córdoba and Tarifa. From 1580 to 1640, the kingdoms of Spain and Portugal became reunited under the same monarch. The union was a result of the death of King Sebastian of Portugal in 1578, who died without leaving an heir, and his closest relatives were Philip II of Spain and his uncle, Cardinal Henry of Portugal. The Portuguese nobility accepted Philip II as their king in 1580, with Philip II becoming Philip I of Portugal. The Iberian Union lasted for several decades, during which the two kingdoms shared a common monarch but retained separate administrations, laws, and institutions. However, the union was not universally accepted in Portugal, leading to periodic revolts and tensions, and ultimately it came to an end in 1640 with the Portuguese Restoration War. This successful revolt led to the proclamation of John IV as King of Portugal in December 1640, and marked the restoration of Portuguese independence. In 1910, the Portuguese Republic was proclaimed, ending the country's monarchy. But the 20th century brought political instability, including periods of authoritarian rule. Like its neighbor Spain, Portugal experienced a long-lasting dictatorship known as the Estado Novo, which lasted from 1933 to 1974. The Estado Novo, or New State, was established under the leadership of Antonio Salazar, who served as Prime Minister from 1932 to 1968 and as President of the Council of Ministers until his retirement in 1968. Salazar's authoritarian regime was characterized by censorship and political repression. The government maintained tight control over political opposition, limiting civil liberties and suppressing dissent. In 1968, Salazar suffered a stroke and was succeeded by Marcelo Caetano. Caetano continued many of Salazar's policies, but the regime faced increasing challenges, both domestically and internationally. The Carnation Revolution of April 25, 1974, marked the end of the Estado Novo. This peaceful revolution was marked by the widespread use of carnations as a symbol of resistance. The revolution was led by the armed forces movement, but also supported by civilians. The Carnation Revolution resulted in the establishment of a democratic government in Portugal and the end of nearly 5 decades of dictatorship. The revolution led to the end of Marcelo Caetano's presidency and the establishment of a transitional government. Portugal underwent a process of democratization. There were successive provisional governments and a series of elections that paved the way for the drafting of a new constitution. The first free parliamentary elections were held in April 1975. Mário Soares, a prominent politician and leader of the Socialist Party, played a crucial role in the early years of Portugal's transition to democracy. He served as Prime Minister from 1976 to 1978, and later as President of Portugal from 1986 to 1996. He was a key figure in shaping Portugal's democratic institutions and policies. Portugal joined the European Union in 1986, experiencing economic and social development. Today, Portugal is a democratic republic with a diverse cultural heritage, as well as a member of various international organizations. That's all we have for today's episode of Places, People, Purpose. We hope you enjoyed learning about the history of Portugal and the Iberian Peninsula. In our next episode, we're going to visit the city of Lisbon with all of its unique beauty and charm. So please join us for our next episode of Places, People, Purpose, where we create connections to our world.